See, we have Berta Montoya, a financial professional who is currently an independent business consultant, is joining us and will lead today's conversation. Once again, my name is Patricia Perez, and I am AARP California's State President Emeritus. And we're here to talk, using this Let's Talk Dinero with AARP event to talk about just budgeting and managing your money and stretching your dollar. But before I hand over the program to Berta, bienvenida Berta, greetings. Um, I usually start with a poll question. So please, we have one simple poll question, and if my AARP, team can help me, the poll question is simple. Today, I am most interested in learning how to one, make, let's see, and this is the poll question regarding, hold on, it may be a different poll question.
Apologies
Okay.
for that. Looks like we have a diff poll question. We'll go ahead and put the question in the chat.
All right. All right. So we'll close the poll. It's always something, right? It's technology. So just, apologies to all. So the poll question is, how confident do you feel managing your budget with today's rising costs? Do you feel that you're making your dollar last? That, is it stretching? How confident do you really feel just managing your budget? So just say yes, yes, yes. And I see a number of you, unfortunately, feel not very confident. So I'm so, so, so happy that you're joining us. Especially this is the start of the new year, right? It's January. I mean, it's January, it's February. It's the first quarter of the year. So I'm very happy that we're, doing this in the beginning of the year. So let's see. So I think some people maybe so a little bit. I don't see anybody that's saying like, oh, I've got this covered. Most of us are either not confident at all or not very confident. So with that said, I'm going to transfer the conversation over to Berta. Berta, bienvenida, welcome. Please, we're looking to a financial expert to help us.
Thank you, Patricia, and thank you to all. And I'm excited to be here. Hopefully, I can shed a little bit of light and give also share some of my experience. So let me see if I can share my
Please.
screen. Where do I go to share my screen? Can you guys see my screen?
Not yet. I hope they made you an administrator.
I don't.
Yes,
Yeah.
but that you do have hosting privileges, so you should be able to share your screen.
Yeah, I'm looking at the comments and people.
Share. Okay, here.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow, somebody wrote that it's getting harder each week. Yes, yes, I get it. All
Okay, there.
right,
Can I see
perfect.
now? Okay. So I put together a very short presentation titled Managing Rising Costs, Practical Strategies for Building Financial Confidence. And this is very broad because we're all in a different situation. We all have different challenges, especially in this time. So hopefully, I wanted to start first with a short but very important and I think to the point quote from Benjamin Franklin that says, be cautious of minor costs because even small leaks can cause a large ship to sink. Right. And I think in today's environment, we have to really be very aware and paying attention of our dollar, right? And where it's going, how are we spending it? So I thought this was a good quote to start. So I'm going to share briefly understanding your spending, tracking where your money actually goes each month, building a monthly budget, create a realistic plan that works for your life and your particular situation, cutting costs without sacrifice, smart strategies to reduce expenses meaningfully, emergency fund essentials, building a financial safety net step by step, again, based on your comfort zone. long-term financial planning, setting goals and strategies for lasting stability for those who are now retired. So first, understanding your spending. And why does this matter? Because most people underestimate their spending by 20 to 40%. That is a big number. It also helps and reveals hidden patterns and recurring waste. It creates a baseline to measure improvements and reduces financial anxiety through awareness. So just three easy tracking tools that you can use in today's environment. We have tons of apps, right? And I wrote Mint is one that most people are familiar, but YNAB is another one. And also your bank, your credit union, your financial advisor, whoever's managing your 401k, they all have plenty of information for this too. Or you can just use a spreadsheet. If you feel comfortable, you can build this using, again, your computer, or like me, I use pen and paper. Just writing all your expenses, your income. For me, that's what works the best. So now a quick 30-day plan, right? We can start this today. So first, day one, we track every expense. So we write everything. Again, for me, it's on a paper and pen. Write everything that you're spending. Right now, we just want to know every bill, every expense, every coffee that you buy, everything that you shop for 30 days. On day three, now you're gonna list the income that comes in. This can be your pension, this can be your paycheck, your 401k, your retirement, your social security check, and then you're gonna also on the other side of wherever you're writing it, now you're gonna also include the bills that are fixed. These are the bills that we have to pay monthly. On day 7, we all have at some point signed up to subscriptions, even if it's 99 cents, and then we forgot about it. So on day 7, I would recommend just looking at your credit card statements or any bills that you have not been paying attention to and see if you can cancel 2 of those subscriptions. And then on day 10, this is when we want to do some research with the banks, with credit unions, with different organizations and open up a savings account. And then applying the 50, 30, 20 rule to your budget, I'm going to go more in detail, but this is basically adjusting percentages to what is realistic to you right now. And then on day 30, you get to celebrate. Even if you just save $50, it's $50 that now, because of your discipline and most importantly, because of your awareness, now you have to celebrate. So this is the 50, 30, 20 rule, which you're going to hear a lot of financial professionals share. So basically what this means is from your income, from your paycheck, let's say, 50% of that paycheck you want to put aside for your needs. This is your rent, your utilities, your groceries. These are the must, right? And then 30% of that income, now you use it for your dining, your subscription, your hobbies, your traveling. And 20% should go to your new savings account or to paying off that credit debt. So this is a rule that it has been proven to work for many, many, many years. Now, cutting without sacrifice. So we don't have to sacrifice everything that we like or that we want, right? So some recommendations for your groceries, maybe do a meal plan every week now. Maybe buy store brands. If you know, we can buy store brands medicine. We can buy the CVS brand, which has the same, if you're looking for Tylenol, the CVS brand acetaminophen has the same, and it's just less expensive. There's plenty of cash apps, again, using technology. Ibora is one that everybody uses, Fetch, but I don't know if you guys know, Target has that 5% one. So many apps and so many stores give you cash back. Your utilities, unplugging devices when we don't need them, using LED bulbs, adjusting the thermostat by 2% can save you up to 10% on your bill. Your insurance, it's important to, I would say, shop rates annually, if not twice, every 2 years. Subscriptions, again, make sure that you're not paying for things that you no longer use or need. Transportation, combining errands, carpooling, refinancing your loans or your credit cards. We can do that. You can call the credit card companies. And then again, maybe you do one extra meal a week at home. Maybe you, instead of 5 Starbucks coffees, you do 2 Starbucks coffee, and that has proven you save $100 a month. So again, these are just little things that we can do today to start saving money. And then this I thought was an important also number because 56% of Americans can cover a $1,000 unexpected expense. So this is why it's so important to be aware of your spending to make sure that you know where your money is going. And we can start here, it says 500, but if we start with 250 a month, add that up for a whole year, you'll have a little something that can help you for any unexpected emergency. Again, when you open a savings account, you can set it up that it will pull money just like we do with our 401ks. It'll pull money directly and deposit to your savings, and you're not even going to see it. Keep it accessible but separate from everyday spending, and make sure it's a high yield, meaning that it's giving you a high percentage interest back, that you're making money on the money that you're saving. And then the goal is to build a 3 to 6 months expense. But again, we can start with a 30-day and then adjusting it to what your needs are. So this is just thinking beyond the 30 days, right? So a short-term goal is between 1 to 2 years, paying off your interest debt, building an emergency fund, creating a working budget, reducing your monthly expense by 10%. The mid-year will be 3 to 5. So save for a major purchase like a car, start or grow retirement contributions. Maybe now you can put more into your 401k, your IRAs. Work on building your credit score. Cutting those subscriptions and paying attention to your credit card debt will help you build that credit score. And then create additional income streams. We all have hobbies. Maybe we have hobbies where we can monetize and max out. And then long term, max out your retirement, you pay off your mortgage early, you build an investment portfolio, and you achieve your financial independence. That's everyone's goal. So again, these were just small, quick bits. I hope some of them are feasible, are easy for you. And the most important thing is just to be consistent and start today. So that's it. Thank you.
But thank you so much. I know that you flew by this, but um, for those of you who are joining us late, don't worry because we're recording this. You'll be able to watch it from the beginning. But just so you know, I'm Patricia Perez. I'm AARP California State President Emeritus, and joining us is Berta Montoya. She is a, financial advisor. She's a financial professional, and she's an independent business consultant who's kind enough to share her tips on how to get us going. We started the conversation that saying the first quarter of the year, this is our time that we can start really putting our resolutions into practice. Many of us think that, getting our financials in check is the most important thing. And I think Berta started by saying number one is track, right? Because it's so easy, right? That little coffee, the little this, the little that, it's only $5, it's only $10. But I can imagine that builds up, really fast. But Berta, let's just start the conversation. What are the most common budgeting mistakes that you see, especially with, some of us that may be 50 plus or older? What do you think are some of the big mistakes that we're making?
Some of the ones that I see are that we don't make the adjustment, right? We still continue to spending like we're still making the same income. And when you're a certain age, your income is it's gonna be lower right now, and especially if you're now in
It's going
retirement.
to be fixed. Yeah.
And it's fixed, it's gonna say you don't have any new. So carrying the same lifestyle expenses from where you had a higher income or it wasn't as fixed is the number one. The second one I see is ignoring the healthcare cost, right? Because the older we get, we're gonna have more expenses. We gotta take care of ourselves. We gotta go to more checkups, maybe more medication. And then having no emergency fund, not being prepared for that time where we don't have any extra income coming in. So those are the three that I see the most.
But we have a question because I know how important it is to have an emergency fund, right? I mean, your car, may need repair. Right? There's, your bathroom floods, who knows, right? And those can be big ticket items. Um, how can somebody save for, let's say, these, emergency needs when we are on a fixed income, when we know exactly how much we have and where it's going out. How can we save? How can somebody save for those emergencies?
I think that's when we have to do our homework, right, and start looking at what tools are out there, right? Like savings account, like I mentioned, opening up a savings account with a high yield interest. There's also like CD options, and some of these accounts don't even ask you to open them with any income. Like there's savings account where you can open it and say, as long as you are gonna have deposits of $100 every month, you have that savings account. So at least you have that saving account and you know that you're gonna have a place to park, again, $25 a week. And we think that we don't have it, but there's always some money that we are spending that is more of a want than a need. So cutting on the coffee, cutting on the ice cream, cutting on, maybe something that you're spending on your kids that they really don't need. It's just that you want to give it to them. So it all comes down to being aware, and just writing all your expenses opens up like your eyes to, oh, wow, I'm spending, even if it's just $10 a day or a
Yeah,
week, that adds up. So
yeah,
that's the most important thing, is being aware. And the only way you're going to be aware is if you write and track what you're spending
yeah.
daily.
And you were suggesting even looking at all these subscriptions, right?
Yes.
Some subscriptions are like, oh, $15 a month. What, no big, but they add up, right? And
Even the 199 a month.
yeah,
Even the 199, you add that,
yeah,
and all of a sudden it's go 10 years go by and you put money
yeah,
in this magazine that you
uh-huh.
don't
Yeah,
even
true,
read, right?
true.
Or
That we
now they
can
have,
get at the library, right? We can read at the
yes,
library.
a library. Or right now, what's hot right now, right, is having Hulu and Amazon. And do you
Those
really need
premium channels.
five different subscriptions to watch a TV show? And then we can look at family plans, because they also offer family plans, but we don't need five different subscriptions to watch a TV show, you
Right.
know. Yeah, so subscriptions is huge. I've looked at people's finances and they have subscriptions that they didn't even remember they had.
That's me. I know. Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I know, right? I'm glad I'm here with you because it's like terrible. That's one of the things I'm going to do right after I hang up with you. But so one of the tips is look at all our expenses, right? Track, track, track. Look at all our subscriptions or just look at where we're spending money and seeing whether we really need it or we just want it. But the
Mhm.
other thing that you mentioned, we're looking at monetizing some things, right? So there's some gigs,
Yeah.
little things that we can do. Some of us have a talent and can sell crafts or, what Task Rabbit, if you know how to fix things or
Meals. Now I know in California there's a new Lana that you can sell food from your house.
hmm
So, there's so many different
hmm
options. There's also, this everybody's selling stuff on OfferUp,
hmm
so there's
Yeah.
also tools online that you can, maybe you have things around your house that you don't like or that you like, but you don't have space for them, where you can sell them on different apps. But yeah, crafts is a huge one. Or even like, how to do Zumba, right? Get a group of women and now you can teach them Zumba and charge them $5 a class. Like there's so many different ways that you can use your own talents and your hobbies and monetize that and get a little extra income.
And you're right. Some of us may subscribe to Nextdoor or these little community sites, and there's always a neighbor selling bread, baking cookies. It's going to be Mother's Day, making floral arrangements, whatever. So there's ways to, I mean, it may not be a lot, like you're saying, right? Some of our, you know, clothes or something, you may think like, oh, it's only $10. It's $10.
Yes. And
Yeah.
$10 can now be a meal, because everything get
Yeah.
a $5 meal
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, exactly. The way I think of it is like if I were to see $10 on the floor, would I just walk by or would I, bend down and pick it
Exactly.
up? So, all right.
Exactly.
But then we were talking about cutting costs and cutting all these expenses. How can we realistically cut costs without feeling like absolutely, feeling deprived? I mean, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
it's like I know it's a mental
Yeah,
thing, but how can we do
it
that
is.
without
It
feeling
is.
like we're
Well, one thing I want to share is and this is something I learned, we can also call our insurance companies. We can call our 401k company. We can even call our life insurance company and let them know about our situation and make a lower payment plan. Instead of a monthly, do it quarterly. That's something that I did. And then just in speaking with them, you have options. I learned that, you have all these other things that you can use from your 401k that I've been in the industry forever and I didn't know. And so reach out also to the bank, to Social Security, because they all have different also programs that can help you with saving. And that'll again leads to reducing cost. But the most important thing for me is just being aware and tracking. And maybe it's not about giving up. Maybe you can look for something to replace it, right? You don't have, maybe 1 month you don't go to like the most fancy steakhouse, right? But you can go to another restaurant or do something else. And then the next month you go and you reward yourself, right? Maybe use it more as a reward. Oh, okay, this month into the 3 months, now I have this extra money. Okay, I think I deserve a nice steakout dinner. So we can do it like that, like on a reward system for being disciplined, for being aware and looking for the future. I think those are some things that can help us not be like, oh, I'm gonna give it up completely. No, we don't have to, we can just delay it.
Yeah. The other thing, Berta, is that some of us may have credit card debts, right? Have a number of credit cards. And I know how it is. You go shopping and every single store tells you like, and you can save 10% if you open up a credit card. And we're thinking 10%, sign me up, right? So now we have all these little credit cards. How can we manage that credit card debt?
So the most important thing is, again, having the discipline to pay it out, but that sometimes that's hard, right? Because sometimes, like for me, I only use my credit card for emergencies, and I've had to use it more now than ever, right? And so it's paying attention on how you use it, when you use it, and doing as much as you can to pay it out within that 30-day period, so that interest is what gets us, right? The 20 something plus interest that all these credit cards are now charging us. That's the part where it's very hard for us to get out. So just paying attention. We don't have to use all the credit cards too. Like as long as you have open credit cards, you're working on your credit score. But if we get, like instead of owing you 1,000, now you owe 6,000 and your credit limit is 3,000. Now that's hurting your credit. So really paying attention, reading the fine print. You also want to get cards that don't have annual fees, right? There's a lot of cards that they'll say, oh yeah, it's 10%, but then you have an annual fee, or they have all these other fees that they don't tell us until we already have the credit card. So paying attention of all the details that go with that credit card.
Yeah. But then what's your advice? Should we pay off the credit cards that have like the highest interest or where we owe the least and at least our
Pay, I would recommend pay the highest interest. Always pay the highest interest. Because that's, if you let that go, that's going to be where it's going to be harder for you to in
that's a
the
kicker.
future, right? Pay it off. So yeah, always go for the pay it off, highest interest. If you can pay whatever you use for emergency and pay it up within those 30 days. Also, sometimes you can do, if you also do a payment, right, your 30-day payment, and you make a second payment prior to the 15th of that month, you're paying more to principal than to interest. And this is also on your mortgage payment. If you make an extra payment before the 15th of the month, you're paying more towards the principal. So that's a little also
Ah,
that
I
you do
know
even for your mortgage payment or your credit card. And that's how you can lower your payment too.
I love financial hack there.
Yes.
All right. And Berta, does it make sense to consolidate debt? I know I hear a lot of commercials about that saying like, do you know where everywhere you can consolidate debt? Does that make sense? Or
It makes sense. When I would do it is if they give you a 0% intro, right? APR. And depending on the months, right? So I know that there's a couple banks now that are offering a credit card for 0% APR up to 15 and one up to 21 months. So that makes sense. But you have to be disciplined to make sure that you're going to pay off that debt. Can you, right? So you got to be also realistic. If it's like maybe 5K, maybe 21 months, you can pay it. But if it's more than that, maybe doesn't. So again, it's always going to depend on the APR and how long you have that interest, because then it's going to go up to 17 to 25%.
All
Right.
right, perfect. And I see people are still joining us. Welcome, bienvenidos. Don't worry if you've missed part of the session. I know Berta had some really great information on the slides. Maybe the information came by so fast. This is being recorded, so you'll be able to view it later. You'll be able to, review the information. So don't worry, but just happy to have Berta Montoya here with us sharing her information. So, Berta, a question that, oh, I'm sorry. And if you have any question, just type it in on the chat. We're trying to get through as many as possible. This conversation is for you to help you stretch your dollar and manage your budget. And, so please, whatever question you have. With that in mind, here's a question, Berta. Somebody said that they came across advice that we should limit our annual spending to just 4% of our total worth. Okay, they came across advice that folks should limit annual spending to 4% of their total worth. Is that practical advice? Huh.
4%.
I'm just asking.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, that sounds
because it's
tough, right?
different. It's because it's different for everybody, right? Like there's
Right.
people that are making over six-figure income, and then there's people that are making 50, right? Especially in these times, and there's no way that they can just in the
Right.
rent, in their groceries, right? In their emergency fund. Yeah, it's every situation is different.
Yeah.
We,
All right.
yeah.
Another question. How much do we need to save to be able to retire? For example, they have a question, should we have 17 times our annual income? Does that make sense for us to have 17 times our annual income? Is that like a good amount to have to feel
7.
comfortable? I
That
know, but it's kind of
sounds
random, right?
that sounds pretty, yeah, that sounds pretty high. It just depends. Well, what are you going to be doing after after you
Yeah.
retire? Because I've never heard that high. I've heard six times, 6 to 10, six to 10
Or
times of your annual income. You can
because yeah, and we're thinking that we'd still have Social Security, maybe
Mhm.
we have, our IRA, our
Pension.
pensions, right?
Mhm.
So that's just additional
Yeah,
income. All
yeah.
right. Okay. Should a person who is retired continue having a savings account?
Yes, because that can be your emergency fund. Yeah,
Right. And we need to have
absolutely.
it liquid, right? It needs
Yeah,
to,
yeah. You need
yeah.
to have an account where you can access your money for any emergency. And sometimes those government accounts you can't, there's a waiting period or there are penalties, right? But a savings account, you can pull it out as at your own as you wish. So yeah, I would say you always need to have a savings account. That's your safety.
Right. I mean, and I remember in one of the sessions, somebody, puts in CDs, right? And even though they're
Yeah,
3 months or whatever, it's still not available until the term.
yeah. Or you
So,
get penalized, right?
yeah,
If it's three
yeah.
months, if you take it out in 1 month, you're getting penalized. So yeah, no, say I always recommend having a savings, even if it's a small savings account.
Yeah, you never know. And seriously, I mean, I remember when I was younger, with cars and with,
Yeah.
things that are needed, and some of us who are parents, our kids may come to us and say, we borrow some money? You want to be able to have at least some.
Or even healthcare, there's a lot of stuff that a lot of these programs don't cover. So you want to have extra funds for that too.
Yeah. Um, let's see. Somebody is asking that, they're in their 50s but want to go back to school, but they're afraid of student debt and how that debt will impact their retirement.
Mhm.
Do you have any advice for somebody who is older but wants to go back to school and get a student loan?
I would first say look at all the programs that are out there for students, even returning. Now they have programs for people that want to go back to their master's program. I recently went back, got a master's, and I was blessed enough that I could pay it off on my own. But I did get tax benefits where at the end of the year I got some of my tuition money back. So look at that. Look at tax benefits. Look at the school, whatever school you're applying to, what programs are there. And also there's a lot of free education now, a lot of free education online, even through
Yes.
Harvard, even through MIT, like their extensions, UCLA. And these are good, reputable universities and organizations that if you're doing it for your job or, for your career, I would recommend look at those options too before you get into the student debt.
Yeah, and you're right. If it's to keep advancing professionally and you do need your degree, then absolutely look at all these other options. Even community colleges, right? Try going the least expensive option until, you're ready to commit. Or if it's just for personal learning, so many free classes and free programs.
And also one thing, Patricia, there's a lot of organizations that pay you, right? They do reimbursement if you're going to school, your employer. So take a look at the employer programs that offer what they offer for education, because you can get reimbursed for up to a certain amount a year. But that would also be very helpful, especially in the books or anything, because it will be expensive.
Right. And I know, for example, if you've worked at nonprofits, right? If you've worked at a nonprofit for like 10 years, there's student loan forgiveness.
Yeah.
So,
Mm-hmm.
so do your research. And we're not saying no, we applaud those that continue learning and continuing their education. That's wonderful. I have a question. This one says, can I still add money to my 401(k) when pulling money from it? Maybe it's a 401(k), or is there, I'm not familiar with 401(k).
Yeah, I know there's a 401(k) and
But,
403(b). I don't
but
know.
can you continue adding money even though you're pulling money from it?
You can only contribute to your 401(k) when you're employed by the organization that's basically holding the 401(k), right? Um, the only time so yeah, you can borrow against your 401(k) and you can pull money from your 401(k) and contribute it as long as you're employed by that company that's offering that 401(k). If you're no longer employed by that company, you cannot contribute or put money into that 401(k). That's when maybe you want to look at an IRA, right? Where you can individual retirement account that you can pull. Now there's rules, right? There's rules, there's taxes, there's penalties. So you gotta make sure that you understand that. But you can only contribute, if you're putting money, you can only contribute back into it if it's an individual retirement account or if you're still employed by that company who's housing the 401(k).
All right. Here's another question. Somebody says they're 48 years old. Is it ever too late to start building wealth?
No?
Is it 48 years old, you're done? Too
Oh, yeah,
late?
exactly. Well, I'm almost there, but I don't feel like it's late. You're so young. No, absolutely. It's just a matter like where are you now? Start building your budget, building a strategy. Like we said, 1 to 2 years, 3 to 5, 7 to 10, right? Be very clear on where your goals, where you want to be. How do you want to get there? How can you get there? Where can you start? So no, there's people that become millionaires in their 60s, in their 70s, in their 80s. So no, it's never too late.
I know, and including, right, inventions or selling things
Yes.
or doing things, right? Like
Yeah,
even AARP was created by a woman in her 70s. So
exactly.
it's never too late to
People
do
that
some.
write books, right? They write books and then their main book at 70 gives them that million, So no, it's never too late.
All right. We have another question, and this is about providing financial support to family members. Um, are there, the question is ways to protect myself when providing financial support to family members, but I know many of us have, either we have our adult children living with us, or we help. Some of us may be, caregivers, or uh, but how can we continue providing financial support and still fall within our budgets?
Yeah, well, I think it's very important to have a candid and honest conversation of where you're at first with yourself, right? If you're going to make that decision to support somebody financially, well, how much can I actually give? Is, especially in our culture, like, I'm taking care of my mom, I'm making sure that she's okay, but I gotta be honest, it's okay, well, how much can I give her? Because I have my expenses as well. So having that honest conversation with yourself, and then again, it all comes up to making a budget, right? And putting aside, this is what I'm saving for her, in my case, like for my mom, or it can be, this is how much I can afford for my children. And being honest, when it comes to now lending, I always recommend make it a full-on contract, like settle the guidelines, settle this is a loan, this is the amount of time that I'm going to give you to pay off the loan, right? Because you also don't want to just give, and then not take care of yourself, right? So if it's a loan, you gotta have that candid and just treat it's a loan, it's a contract. But if you're just willingly helping them, just be very honest with your budget, have that conversation with them. And then, yeah, what I do is I have a savings account where that's all for her. So I have a separate savings account where I put just money that I know this is for her expenses, it's for me taking care of her. And she has access to that savings account as well. But it's a very honest and real conversation, right? I'm like, this is how much I'm putting there, and this is for this, for your medication, for this, for that. And I can give you a little extra sometimes, maybe sometimes I can't, but I'm gonna make sure that you're taken care of. But it's just having that honest conversation. Let's not overpromise, right? Either, and make sure that we're taking care of ourselves too.
Yeah, no, and you're absolutely right. I have a girlfriend who takes out personal loans to be able to, help relatives. But like you were saying, have a conversation. So let's say if it's for your child, for your daughter, your son, that they understand whether it's a loan or whether it's a gift, and
Mm-hmm.
that there's expectations, right? The same thing, Berta, when they were being asked to co-sign
Mm-hmm.
things.
Same
Uh,
thing. Yeah, same thing. You want to have that everything in writing. All the expectation, all of my responsibilities, and then the other person responsibilities, time frames, in case of an emergency, like let's say they can pay this loan. Okay, is there gonna be any interest, right? Like they give us 5 days to pay the mortgage, or we start getting fees. Same things with the credit cards, right? So same thing in a loan, be it, it doesn't matter that it's within a family member, because the more clear the expectations are set, the less problems, and the more you can keep that relationship, because you don't want to lose relationships over money, right?
yeah,
So it's so
yeah.
important to be very clear of what the expectation, the rules, the guidelines, and we both agree, great. And if something happens, there's already a stipulus there that says, well, if this, then this and this, right? So it's very important to have everything in writing, even with family.
Okay. Um, you covered this already in your presentation, but there's a question about the strategies to keep credit card spending under control. I
Okay.
know, other than just don't do it.
Yeah, don't use the credit card. Um, Again, is the way I treat it is, sometimes we have to use the credit card because that helps us build the credit, right? That's what we're building our points and building our credit. But you want to be very honest with yourself. If I'm gonna buy a $500, I don't know, purse, right? Let's say a $500 purse, but I know that I can only afford 300, right? And your interest rate is 20%.
Yeah,
How much more do you want to pay on that purse, right? You're
I
going to
know.
buy $1,000 purse, right? Versus a
Yeah.
$500 purse. So, so I say use it if you know that you have the funds to pay it within those 30 days. And you want to pay it within those 30 days before your statement even comes in the mail. And you buy that purse, you made that purchase, your credit score is gonna go high. A week later, make that payment 100%. And like I said, if you paid it before the 15, you're even paying less interest on that purchase. So if you have to, because you're building credit, because for whatever reason you don't have that cash right there, do it if you know that you will come into that cash and you will be okay paying that off before the 30 days are up.
Perfect. Are there any tax implications when receiving monetary gifts? I know taxes, right? That's like,
Yeah, that's
oh, that's a whole different webinar,
yeah,
but
and it depends on the amount,
mhm.
right? That it depends on the amount, it depends on your income. So yes, there can be tax implication. It's just again, everybody's different, so I wouldn't be able to tell you because it depends on your income, your situation, the amount of the gift that was given. Usually if it's like $100 or less, is no, right? There's no implications, but again, it just depends. So that one would be a case by case basis.
Yeah. We have a question, and this is regarding an HSA account. So the question is, can I contribute to an HSA account if I have a high deductible health insurance plan? And they're already retired and withdrawing from IRA.
Can you contribute to an HSA?
Uh,
Mm,
they have a high deductible and they just want to contribute to an HSA.
but I believe most of the HSA are employer
Right.
fund provided. So you have to be with an employer. So if you are with an employer that provides, that offers HSA, yeah. But if you are not employed by an organization that has that option, then I don't know of any HSA that's separate from an employer funded one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And
Yeah.
I certainly would not know either. All
No, I
right.
only know the ones that are employer for, and if
Mhm.
if you have an employer, it doesn't matter anything else. If they offer it, you can contribute. Yeah.
All right. And I know people, we're getting questions regarding credit cards. And people, we're telling you, but I'm glad you're asking. I'm glad you're asking.
Yes,
So
yes.
here, somebody had a question. Do credit cards typically charge a fee to transfer balance? And
They, yeah,
if that's the case, should we find a credit card that does not,
yeah,
have transfer fees?
yeah. You do want to look for because some do. Some do have
What,
a transfer
explain
fee.
what it is. What transfers? What is that?
So a balance transfer. So let's say I have city car that I owe $5,000, right? That's charging me 25%. And now I have a Bank of America card over here that's saying 0% APR for 15 months. So I'm gonna call Citi and say, hey, I want to transfer all my balance to the Bank of America card. Bank of America, oh no, Citi is still gonna charge me because they're losing all their money, right? So they're still going to want to make money. So they're going to charge a fee, which is usually about the ones I've seen between $35 to $50 to let go of that money and you pay it upfront. But sometimes also Bank of America can charge a fee as well for bringing it in because remember, they're not going to make any interest on your money for at least 15 months. So you do got to pay attention when you're doing the transfer. Who's going to charge that fee? Somebody's going to charge a fee because they're not going to want to lose money, right? But that's when you have a high interest rate and a high balance and you know you can pay it off and all of a sudden you have this card that's saying 0% APR for 15 months, no annual fee. So also look at that no annual fee and then look at what's the transfer fee or some don't have. So that's why it's so important to do your research.
Yes, and believe me, and regarding credit cards, be careful. I mean, I get offered credit cards every store I shop.
Mhm.
And the ladies are, yeah, and they're incentives, right? So
Yeah,
they're like, are you sure you'd be saving, right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
just be
Be careful. Yeah,
careful.
it's tricky because like I said, also there's some credit cards also that give you cash back, right? Like there's if you use it at the credit, if you're buying groceries, you get 5% cash back. You get and at every dollar will add up. But again, does it make sense what you're getting as return when you're paying when you're getting no more? I've never seen more than 5%, but yet you're paying 18% in interest. Like, does it make sense, right?
Yes.
We got to take a look at that.
Yeah. And we're coming close to the end, but we still have a number of questions, a number of questions. Is a FICO score affected by opening a new credit card?
They're gonna check your credit every time you it only gets affected if you have like already like 6 different or 5 different credit cards and you have a high balance on.
Yeah. And within a specific period of time
And
too.
it's usually within 30 days, right? If you're
Yeah.
within those 30 days, you had 4 different credit cards, yes, right? It is. It is. But yeah, it's usually the time frame that you're looking for. And it's even like when you get a car loan, right? Every time it's gonna deduct points every time you're looking at your credit. Now remember, you can't get a free credit report every year, right? Like everybody's entitled to get from Experian every year. So you can also that's another tool that we can use every year. Let's take a look. Let's reach out to Experian and TransUnion, and they'll send me my report, and then we can take a look at what credit cards I should be paying off, rather than others.
Yeah. And this is an aside, but I really do suggest people just check your credit reports to make sure that it's your credit, right? We're now going
Mhm.
into fraud, but that nobody else is using your information, your accounts or anything that are opening up credit cards in your name and it would affect your credit. So highly suggest get your credit report every year just to verify.
Yeah.
Berta, as we're getting ready to wrap up, insights and final piece of advice that you would have for people, if there's like one thing you want us to know, what would it be?
Track your money. You should know where every penny is going. Be aware, right? So this keeping track of subscriptions, keeping track of your expenses, of your credit card, the budget, making a budget, even if you do a very simple budget, that for me has helped me throughout my life. And just being aware and tracking where your money is, instead of like, oh, assuming, or oh yeah, I feel like I did okay. No, look at the numbers, because you might be in a better position than you think, or you might be in a more difficult situation than you think, so then you pivot. But for me, it's just being aware and making sure that you count every penny, especially now.
Yeah, and you were saying there's apps. For those of you coming in late, her presentation had a number of apps that we can use, right? What was the other thing? Writing it down,
Mhm.
right? Or an Excel spreadsheet,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, those are the two.
Really try. So, but tracking all your expenses, check your statements, check your credit cards, your bank statements, write down all these little cash transactions. It all adds up. If at the end you realize that you're spending more than you make, then you have to figure out how to make more money, right?
Right,
And
yeah.
that's what, we were talking about suggestions and ideas.
Yeah.
That we can have, right? That we can use. But Berta, thank you so much. But I also want to let people know that there are a number of online resources available from AARP. You can visit aarp.org/money. aarp.org/money. And so there's a lot of resources available. There's tools, there's budgeting tools, tips, if you need to hire a financial advisor. I mean, just so many tools available, free resources available. And just you being here is an incredible first step. So I truly appreciate. And let's see, and Berta, hold on. I'm just quickly checking the questions and see. Oh, yes, I think Priscilla added the AARP information on the chat, and these are free resources already available to you. So there's budgeting tools, uh, calculate credit card payoffs.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's a great one. Yeah. Student loans. Priscilla, just check Priscilla's, all her comments from Priscilla. She's like really on top of it. So all of these are wonderful. So yes, please, yes, your budgeting tool, once again, aarp.org/money. Berta, final piece of advice? No?
Um, Again, it's just being aware, just be aware. This is important. We work hard, right? We work hard for every penny that we earn. So let's make sure that we're spending it wisely. And again, you don't have to deprive. You still have if you make it like in this month, I'm gonna save this and I save $25, that's a win because those are $25 that you didn't have before. So also make sure that you reward yourself for the little wins.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, going to the movies, right? It can easily add up with your popcorn, your soft drink, or movies when you can watch it on TV or you can, right? So,
Yeah, make it a family movie night and have popcorn at your house and make it'll
yeah.
probably be more fun.
Thank you, Berta. And thanks to all of you for joining us with our Let's Talk Dinero with AARP. This is where we feature experts like Berta, across the state who provide information on everything from debt management, investing, retirement planning, entrepreneurship, and so much more. Please join us at our next event. It'll be on Monday, April the 27th, and we will be talking about credit and simple steps you can take to build your credit. And remember, AARP is here to help you with resources and events to help you choose how you live as you age. Visit us online at aarp.org/let's talk dinero. And also there you can view later this link and just recordings of other sessions that we've had. We've come to the end of our session. Berta, thank you for all this amazing information. We truly appreciate it. And we really appreciate you for being here, for your questions. We're here to help you. Thank you all, and we'll see you hopefully on April the 27th. Gracias, everybody. Thank you all.
Bye-bye.